Most people assume global business decisions are made in boardrooms. They imagine executives debating strategy, leaders choosing direction, companies deciding where to invest, expand, or pull back. But in 2026, many of the most consequential business decisions are no longer made that way. Increasingly, outcomes are shaped before any meeting takes place, not by arguments around a table, but by systems that quietly define what's allowed and what isn't. Right now, major financial institutions like HSBC are embedding artificial intelligence directly into legal and compliance workflows, using AI systems to review contracts and assess risk before deals ever reach senior leadership. At the same time, regulators across the UK and Europe are warning that AI models used in credit, insurance, and financial decision-making could create systemic risk, not because they're malicious, but because they're becoming embedded too deeply, too quickly. These aren't experiments. They're operational systems already influencing real decisions at scale. This video is about how that happened and what it means for who really controls global business today. To understand the shift, it helps to look at how decisions used to work. Historically, senior leaders had wide discretion. They weighed risk, opportunity, and instinct. Rules existed, but judgment dominated. That model worked when companies were smaller, markets were simpler, and operations were largely domestic. But modern global business doesn't look like that anymore. Today, large organizations operate across dozens of countries, multiple currencies, and overlapping regulatory regimes. Every decision carries financial exposure, legal risk, and reputational consequences. At that scale, judgment alone becomes dangerous. So companies did what organizations always do when complexity grows. They built systems. Finance systems to control spending, compliance systems to enforce rules, risk models to quantify uncertainty, enterprise software to standardize behavior. Each system solved a problem. Together, they quietly changed where power sits. Consider how a major business decision now begins. Before an executive approves a move, finance models assess cost and exposure. Risk teams score regulatory impact. Compliance systems check constraints. Procurement platforms validate suppliers. Enterprise software enforces policy. By the time a decision reaches leadership, the range of acceptable outcomes is already narrow. Not because anyone imposed control deliberately, but because systems made complexity manageable. This is how power moves upstream, not through intent, but through design. The same shift appears across industries. In finance, credit decisions are shaped by risk models long before human review. In logistics, routing is optimized algorithmically before managers intervene. In hiring, applicant pools are filtered before interviews begin. In travel, trips are approved or denied before anyone debates their value. Human choice still exists, but it operates inside predefined boundaries. This doesn't mean executives are irrelevant. It means their role has changed. Leadership today is less about choosing freely and more about navigating systems that already encode priorities: cost, risk, compliance, efficiency. These values are no longer debated daily, they're embedded. Artificial intelligence accelerates this shift. AI doesn't introduce control, it scales it. Where systems once flagged issues, after the fact, AI evaluates decisions in real time. Unusual spending patterns are flagged automatically. Risk thresholds adjust dynamically. Options are filtered before they're even visible. In many large organizations, AI systems already approve or deny actions automatically, adjusting routes, costs, and risk exposure before an employee ever opens a booking page or submits a request. AI doesn't tell companies what to do. It tells them what not to do. Constraints shape outcomes. When certain choices become harder, others become default. Investment flows toward regions with regulatory clarity. Expansion favors markets with predictable rules. Innovation concentrates where systems integrate smoothly, not because leaders prefer those places, but because systems do. This is why geography still matters in a digital economy. Despite remote work and cloud infrastructure, global business continues to cluster around specific hubs. Not for talent alone, not for tax alone, but because those places align with the systems modern companies depend on. Financial regulation, data governance, legal predictability, institutional trust. These aren't advantages you notice day to day. They're advantages you notice when they're missing. Over time, these structural preferences compound. Companies that align with system constraints scale more easily. Those that don't face friction at every step. Decisions begin to look consistent across industries and regions, even when leaders believe they're acting independently. This is how coordination emerges without coordination. None of this is inherently good or bad. Systems reduce chaos. They prevent mistakes. They make global operations possible. But they also redistribute power, from individuals to infrastructure, from debate to design, from choice to constraint. Understanding this shift changes how you read the world. You stop asking why leaders chose a particular outcome, and start asking what systems made that outcome likely. Because in modern global business, power rarely announces itself. It doesn't issue orders. It doesn't make speeches. It sets defaults. And once defaults are set, most decisions follow naturally. So, when we ask who controls global business today, the answer isn't a person, a company, or a country. It's the systems that define what's possible. And the organizations that understand that reality are the ones quietly shaping the future. Not loudly, not visibly, but decisively,